Hey everybody, Brad Linder back at you again with another card of the day. I'm going to share this over with the YouTube channel and Facebook page so we can see it, and we're going to knock this out. It is going to be Prime versus Hulk, or Hulk versus Prime, whichever you prefer. Going to be coloring this one with pencils this time around, and going to do a little bit of erasing here. I missed a few spots. Bear with me. I'm going to run this over the roller so I can straighten it out a little bit. There we go. Cool. Now when I press that, it'll be nice and smooth for whoever gets it. And now that that's shared, well, at least I hope it is. There we go. Cool. And it's not wanting to share with the page. Oh, there we go. Cool. Okay. Now, sorry about that. Hey, John. Just making sure everything's cool. And we have it all shared over with the page and channel so everybody can see. Now I'm going to get started. And as you guys can see, or maybe can't, I don't know at this angle, that is Prime back there going through a light pole right here. And this is, of course, the Hulk. And there's a brick wall that he went barreling through. And we've got some debris floating back there and a car back in the back. So it's going to be a fun one. Anyway, I'm going to go in and knock this out on this yellow here for starting this gold look on Prime to get this thing underway. Just taking a second to hesitate to see if I'm in frame for you guys. Now, if you don't know who Prime is, he was a part of the now defunct Ultimate Universe or Ultra Universe for Marvel. And what that originally was the Ultra Universe for Malibu Comics, which were the publishing company guys that originally published the now well-known Image books. Back in the early 90s, they started that, and what ended up happening was those guys needed a publisher to print, and they needed somebody that had diamond distribution that could bypass the block from Marvel and DC. So they used Malibu because they already had a self-established company, a small press company, and they needed somebody with clout to do what they needed to do. So that's where they went, and I found that really cool that they did that. I'm going to go ahead and keep laying in some primary colors. Pardon the pun. Prime, hey. But anyway, that's the way it started with the Image one-shots, the Image Insider and the preview look books and all that good stuff. And Youngblood #1 was also published by Malibu. So I mean, it was done under the Image imprint, of course, but it was represented on the inside cover that Malibu was the one that actually printed it and distributed it, which was really cool to see. I was a huge fan of that stuff, and I was a fan of their comics anyway prior to Image coming out. And you know, when I found out they were connected with Malibu through Image, going through them, I was just ecstatic because I was like, yeah, at least they're going to be decent print quality. So, because they got most of their stuff printed overseas and up in Canada, depending on what book it was and what they needed. But they went with their bigger runs overseas, and then they went with like Canadian printers, various Canadian printers, for their local smaller prints when they got started. So it was pretty neat to see all that come to fruition and come out on the market. And Prime was a great one. Hey, Brian, glad you made it. Aaron, always cool to see you, buddy. No, I'm not, actually, Brian, I'm not that late. Um, I I get sometimes I get caught up in business stuff here, and lately the cards have been slipping because of the fact that I just couldn't get to them. And business and websites and stuff takes precedence over this, unfortunately, because got to make the money and keep the business going. And I do this for you guys, but no, I'm Central Time. I prefer to do it in the afternoon if possible. I prefer to do this stuff in the afternoon if possible. That 2 to 5 window is what I like to keep. But as of the last little while, the last few weeks, it's been hit and miss, man. A lot of them are coming up. A lot more of them are coming up in the afternoon as I hit the 1 year deadline. But it's still, to be perfectly honest with you, it's still hit and miss, man. It really is. I normally try to come on about 3 to 4 in the afternoon, Central Time, because I prefer that. And I want to make sure that everybody gets to see it. But sometimes it just doesn't allow for that, man. But anyway, I am in Central Time just to answer that question. But and I'm going to try and get back onto that because I've got 3 or 4 cards inked now. Excuse my allergies. We got warm today and then got hot today and then got cold today. It was weird. But anyway, yeah, I'm trying to get back to regular time, man, because I want to get back in the afternoon with these windows because that's where everybody seems to be for my fit of following. And I get asked about that all the time when I'm going to get it in gear and, get it back up. But I'm working on it. Busy, man. Busy. But anyway, I'm trying to lay in these primary colors here so we can get the base down and show everything for you guys to see. Excuse me. And now I'm going to lay in some of these lights for the base of the Hulk and make him pop out. Go ahead and get him baselined, and then I'm going to do the brick wall, and then we'll start on some of the buildings in the background before I go in and tone him up. Right now, I'm just going to put down a base coat, so don't freak out. It's just one color. This is a very light yellow-green as the base, so he'll be nice and bright in the highlight points. And I'm going to max him out that way, and then we'll get into some deeper stuff. Need to slow down a little bit. I'm starting to circle, and I don't want to leave gaps. Got to go back and forth. When you do pencil work, be sure and do the back and forth long stroke technique, because if you do the circle speed coloring, like you would with crayons, you'll tend to leave gaps, and you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure you saturate your colors. That back and forth makes a smooth saturation. Because see, I'm getting a little fast, and see there's pale spots there. That's why I'm going back over real quick. Because we don't want that. We don't want that. There we go. Nice and even for this base coat. And cool deal. I'll get the bottom of that arm in just a second. I'm going to turn this and get this wrist here and this thumb knuckle like that. Boom, done deal. And I've been getting asked a lot to do more pencil work. Everybody keeps asking me when I do the pencil. It's funny, you guys ask me when I do the pencil work to do more finished pieces and more inked and colored work. And then when I go for the penciled work, you say, well, do more finished ink and color, and then when we want you to do more color, we'll tell you to do more pencil. Well, which way are we going here? So it's funny. It's like, I like your finished stuff. Well, I like your colored and inked stuff. Well, so it's funny. But I remember in the beginning that I used to, 300 cards back now, 350 cards back, I would go off and pencil these things live for you guys, and then I would go back and color them that afternoon or that evening, and then show the finished shot. That way they were inked and colored up, and they were done. But now, due to time constraints, I'm doing them in sessions because of the fact that, one, it makes better videos because it shows the process, and two is that I just don't have the time to sit and do them all in one shot anymore unless I make specific time for that because of my schedule with my artwork and my teaching and my, my videos and my consulting and all that stuff, man. I mean, it's just got to get the work done, and it's a little time consuming, but I still want to do this. I still want to keep these going. I love hanging out with you guys and getting your questions and your feedback and stuff. Hey, Jim, glad you made it, man. Yeah, Seagulls now, yeah. Jim sent me, Jim O'Reilly, if you can't see this on the Facebook channel or the Facebook page because you're on the YouTube channel, I'll tell you, I got Phenomena stuck in my head today because it was a video placed as an ad insert on YouTube, and somebody had put Phenomena as the ad break in their video, and I was watching a fellow artist, and geez, it got stuck in my head and I could not get rid of it. So Jim said, nope, I'm not listening to it, because I sent him the video showing what it was and whatnot, and he said, nope, not watching it, and sent me a very cool bad lip readers video of Star Wars today, and it got me out of it. It was Yoda and Luke Skywalker. Pretty cool. And I appreciate that, man. I got that out of my head because it was horrible. Phenomena is the devil. And if you've never heard that song, please don't go Google it. It's kind of like watching The Ring. Don't do that to yourself, because it'll get stuck in your head, and then you'll be singing that all night and all day, and you'll regret it. Please don't do that. So now I'm going to put in some really cool green eyes here for the Hulkster. Now that we got that baseline down on the two primary characters, I'm going to be able to go in and touch this background stuff up before I come in and really dig into this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off with this, well, I've missed a piece of the shoulder and the cape right here, but I'm going to start off with this light pole. I'm going to kind of put in this, just a simple old school gray highlight. Boom, done deal. Nice lamppost. And there's the top of it right there. I'm going to put in a little ridge right back here. And a little lip right on the edge of the light. Okay, cool deal. Now that that's in, I'm going to go back over here and grab my my base red here, which is a very bright red. I really like this one. It works great for base colors because of the fact that it's so soft and it's very forgiving. And when I go in and overlay everything, it really lights up. So now I've got that going on with the light pole, and I've got a couple of buildings over here, which I'm going to use various colors because you don't see much of the skyline at all back here. So what I'm going to do, because these are buildings across the street, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to highlight these with a blue right here for this building. And we see kind of like that metal trim in there kind of deal going on. And then we'll see a highlight right here go through this building wall edge right there. So it looks like the building's there, but it's not completely out of whack. We'll leave that be for the moment. And I just wanted to add a couple of accents here and there. And I have another almost a teal color, which I'm going to put this on the window of this one, because I want something to stand out. Like I said, I want it to completely stand out as a standalone building. Excuse my clearing here. My allergies set off. Like I said, I got hot and warm today, so it's kind of bleh, you know. I had a trash can or something bent there. Let me grab a darker gray and go in here. I had a silhouette of a can here, but I erased it, and I was going to draw it in color later, and I had forgotten that I was going to do that. So I'm going to draw kind of like that, do this crunch down thing. That'll take care of that one. And we have this alleyway right here, which I'll color that in gray so we can get that out of the way. Boom, like that. Hey, now we have this one right here. That colors that down. And let's see what's up. Hey, Nathan. Glad you made it, man. Glad you made it. Now I'm going to go in on this building with a little bit of purple. And the reason I'm going to do that is because of the fact that I wanted this to look a little gritty. And like I said, I wanted to have kind of an 80s, 90s style in the way that things kind of flaked out there a little bit. And popped in with a retro coloring. I thought that would be cool. And I have a really neat, breaking this in here, I have a really neat brick red that I wanted to color in these bricks with. These old school dark maroon bricks. And got that one going on. I wanted to do that kind of deal with that. Now we've got the shade going on. We've got the windows. I need to get my lighter shade here so I can do some other stuff with this window. Like that. I'm doing this old school because I'm doing these pencils. And I wanted to bring something in that, you know, would be unique for what we're doing. And I'm not going to go clean slashes or anything like that. I mean, windows normally would be clean slashes, but I'm not going to do that because I want to make sure that it's color unique and stands out, you know, for you guys to be able to see it. Now we've got the car under here. We've got all this brick debris around. Got the car roof there, the side panel for the driver's side. I think I'm going to go in and I'm going to color this sucker. What do you guys say? Let me get some feedback. I think I'm going to go with an orange just to make it stand out. I would like to see it go with an orange, but pop the tip a little bit there. I think we'll go that route. I want the car to stand out, and I want it to, it's a kind of a luxury car kind of thing, and I want it to stand out a little bit against the contrast of colors for the guys being in here, you know. So it's like, neat, we screwed up. You crushed our car. I don't know exactly what make that would be back under there. I just wanted something crumpled. And now I've got to go in with this brick. I'm going to use a brown here. I have a very cool brown for that. Now, a lot of people would say, don't color all of it. Leave some of it open. Not really. I'd rather not, because you know, even though it's going to have some of the mortar on it and some of the, you know, the grout and stuff stuck to it, I would rather just go ahead and knock this one out because it is a sketch card, and I want to keep this very simple and clean. And that is all brick back there. Because that's where the wall, the chunk of the wall that he went through, a good chunk of it went. This is all going to be brick debris. Now, this right here is going to be something else. I'm going to move that as part of the airbag for the car. And there's some chrome right there, which I'll leave that. And then there's the undercarriage and the tire, which we'll leave that alone. Because I'm going to go dark gray on that one like it's the road. And then we will be blacking the other side out. And I'll leave that kind of open to where you can see it up close, but pretty much it's going to be blacked out underneath there. Now, with that out of the way, we are going to go for the brick here and here. So I need to pick my brown back up. Now this one I will show a little bit more detail here in these and leave this a little more open. I'll come in with a light gray as a finishing layer and kind of coloring that grout a little bit. But I want to make sure that it looks, you know, pretty decent. But like I said, this is like an old school 90s style, you know, so it's all bright colors and not much left to be desired as far as that goes. Because it's very simple, bright colors, and then it's a couple of overtones, and then it's out the door, man. It's out the door. Now, what I'm going to do back here is, because this brick goes back this way, I'm going to cut this one back this direction. And then down here behind his head, this is going to be a little bit of grout running through where the brick is crumbled up a little bit, kind of deal. And then I'm going to leave this one open because I'm going to have some other buildings and stuff behind there. So we're going to leave that open with, I don't want to do that blue back there. I'm going to use a darker brown for the bricks across the street. And they'll be pretty much blacked out solid brick. I'll leave that way so we can see it like part of the other building. And now I'll go back down here to these bricks that are connection to this wall. And I'm going to put them like this. Nice and base brown for the moment. And go back into them shortly. Now that's mostly going to be the brick mortar there, because that's where it broke. And I don't want that to look like brick. I want that to be the top surface, and it's going to have little chips of brick in it. And then there's some stuff back there, some little debris stuff, which I'll lay in maybe an orange, because this is stuff on the street, like maybe pieces of that car or something that got in the way, kind of deal. Let's see, grab that gray here. Do a good chunk of that pavement like that. I try and make it look like a, you know, like a sidewalk. got a shadow of the grooves there kind of deal. And I don't know what that would be sticking out there to something. I'll say, I don't know, maybe someone's cane. Put it like that. Kind of debris there. And the funny thing is I did this so long ago, I don't really remember a lot of this, and that's unfortunate. But I'm man enough to admit it though. But you know, we're almost done here. We've got the baseline in. Let's go ahead and get some of this mortar material in, and go ahead and get this shaded up and get it finished, and then we can go back into prime and then to the Hulk and get these backgrounds laid out here, and then get into some of the cool stuff here by finishing up the Hulk and knocking this out. So I'm going to put in this little shadow ridge on the teeth here like that, and up under the lip line, and right at the corner of the eyes for the eyelids, make him look heavy. And now we'll go in with some darker greens and knock this out. Right in here where this arm folds, I'm going to start with the Hulk here. Right is where this muscle folds on the edge of this bicep, where that shoulder's over the top, that delt. That's where we're going to come in with this darker green for the majority of the underarm, and a little bit of the lat. Like that. Leave some highlights in there so we can see the muscle. And now we have that highlight from the back on that edge going across this way. And then we have this pectoral muscle. We're going to get in here with a bunch of this and build that up and out. He's so massive, he's got ripples and ripples. And that's part of the cool part of doing something like this, is you get to work with all those really super defined chunks of muscle. And a lot of people miss that opportunity. Of course, I'm not one of those artists that likes to go in and draw every little vein and you know, partition and all that. I don't do that much realism, but I do like to have this kind of detail to it because of the fact that I get to play really heavy with some of these silhouettes, and it's really fun to get to do this once in a while. But I don't like to do that all the time, because then it overpowers it and it takes away from the image itself, and then you end up losing yourself in, you know, the details of, you know, where does the chin shadow go, and how does it shade down this way or that way, or, you know, where do these muscle fibers go into this partition and to this partition of muscle and that kind of thing. Don't get yourself rung up in that. Just go with where it looks really good for the light, based on where your target light's coming from, which would be out here into this wall. So a lot more of this side would be dark because it's down underneath the shoulder. So this would be your strong highlight. This side would be more dim from underneath, and a little bit of light that makes it across. And then you don't have to worry about that. So, you know, because right across here, I would have this shadow where these pecs meet in the middle. You have that shadow going on where the tissue dips. But then right about here is where that light curve takes off. And then you go back down around this area and you cut back this way. Excuse me. You cut back like that. And that's where the chest, say, dips right there, that kind of thing. The muscle fiber dips in a little bit. And we go back over this edge, and boom, you know, he's kind of got that highlight right there, and then it goes back this way, and it kind of filters out. So, you know, it just depends on where the light hits and how. I'm going to draw circular here to make this look like that muscle's curved, and the pencil will do that for me if I do it properly. Okay. Now I'll go back over to this side, and I'll catch it right in here. And we'll come down just a little bit, highlight right there, and I'll take that piece out, and it'll highlight right on that edge, right there, right there, right there, right there. And then we'll have just a little bit of a curvature dip right here for this part of the shoulder to round out and give it that backside mass, so he looks like he's just really huge. And I'm not going to do the face just yet. So get all that going on. Now I'm going to tone in some more of this bicep here. And there we go. Now we have all of that hitting light right there from the outside. Right over here, hit that forearm muscle, which I don't know the name of those, so don't ask me. I do, but I try not to get, again, I try not to go so realistic, because knowing they're there and giving the mass of the muscles itself in showing what's there like this and giving that impression is more important than drawing every little muscle. Because if you're drawing every little muscle like that, then you leave nothing for the imagination to extrapolate, and that will kill your image. That's why, you know, a lot of people look at the photorealism stuff and say, well, you know, I've seen it all. Well, the reason is because there's nothing left of the, you know, it looks good, it's great detail, but I don't have anything, you know, there's nothing, no pizzazz to it, no zing to it, no strength to it. And the reason there's not is not because it's not great art. It's beautiful stuff because they put in all the detail. But the problem with realism is, for people like me, there's nothing to extrapolate, so you don't get to get into the fantasy of it, and you don't get into the visualization effect, which is the illusion of comics in the first place. And you have to take your fan through that process, and this is fantasy, so you know you're creating that illusion for them, but you don't want to go so far that you take them out of the story. And you have to leave artwork open enough to keep that subconscious mind working on that, so that they don't break constant concentration. There we go, is the way I want to. It's late, but you don't want to break that that continuity for the illusion constantly, because if you're breaking it, then you're going to take them out of the illusion, and they're not going to stay in the comic book, and they're going to be judging your artwork. And same thing if you go too little. And I understand that completely, and I agree with that 100%. But there's a lot more to it than that. So, you know, you got to think about what you're doing in relationship to the page itself and to the story, for giving the best image you can while still keeping the reader involved. You know, you got to keep them involved. So I'm going to give these the bright, shiny, ultra green that everybody wants. Excuse me. And then I'm going to grab a darker green here for the shadow effects and for the I'll make sure I'm still in panel, for the darker effects and for the hair. I want to make sure all that's still in there, because his hair still highlights, but it highlights a darker green, and I like to give that its due, because it's naturally jet black, but it has a highlight to a green, which is funny because he's a brunette. It's not black, it's brown when he's human, in his human form, but when he's hulked out, it's actually a jet black with a heightened radioactive green tint instead of the, you know, the purple or blue that you would get with true jet black hair, which is strange, but whatever. But I'm going to put in some more of these darker points here. To shadow this out just a little bit deeper, and pop this out just a little bit more. Bear with me here. I'm going to reach down and grab a drink because my throat is dry. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't want to spend the rest of the time clearing my throat. So, anyway. There we go. Now, I'm going to go in here, pop in a little bit more of this shadow work. And right along this edge is where I want to put that for that crease, right down there. And that's about all I want to put in there because I don't want to get it too dark. And I don't want to take away from the light at all on this one. So, go shadow down there. I'm going to put a little bit in on the shoulder, just a little, right here in this dark spot, because this is the deepest point. And then right down here. And right under here. And then right underneath on that inside point where the pec meets the ribs. Right down here in front, because there's no light over here. And we have the shadow of the pec over here. And a little bit down in the crease right in the middle where it meets the sternum. But again, not much. I'm not blacking this out to the point of where it won't show, because that's not what I want. I just want to darken this up for a true shadow. Give me that jawline, a little bit on that chin, a little bit on the ear. Right back here, circling again. Again, not recommended too often, but in this case, to make that muscle look round, we're rounding out the curve. And right back over here, this is going to be minimum light over on this side. So, got to bleed this in a little bit. There we go. Cool deal. All right. And this peak right down here, we'll catch it right across this way because that's where the light's coming from. Boom. So, we've got that done. Now under here, right up under the nose, just a little. Darken that in. And then right up under the eyes, just a little bit. To show that heavy brow. Heavy eyelid, heavy brow, those deep recesses where he crunches up, and that's it. That is where we want that. Now, I'm going to come over here and do something really cool with a little bit of shadow for the hair, which everybody forgets, you know. I want to do just a little bit of shadow for the hair like that. Just a little bit. Okay. Do a little bit back there too. Okay. And now we have the Hulk. Now I've got to grab the white and the bright yellow. I don't want to brighten him up too much. Just a couple of key spots. Okay. This is a little trick I picked up from Rick Butler. Rich was awesome, and he gave me this little tip. He said, anytime you do The Hulk, he said, use yellow. I said, what? He said, paint yellow. Use yellow because yellow will make that green stand out way more than anything else. He said it'll seal in all the white and it'll make it pop off the page. And since I knew that and learned that from him, that was one of those things, you know. The dude was awesome. And it was a great loss to have him go when he did. But he went out by choice that way, so all good. I mean, if you got to do it, you got to do it. So, and then just a touch of white on these strongest points, and then walk away. But don't put too much everywhere. Just those main highlights where it's going to be the brightest, and it'll kind of finish it out a little bit. So the Hulk looks like rah, he's definitely there. You know what I mean? So we got that done. Now I'm going to come in with this super light orange on Prime here. And we're going to golden this up. It's kind of a, I want to say like it's a golden orange. It's kind of like a tangerine, I guess. It's really, really rich, but it's a really yellow orange. And I like to do that because it pops it out and makes a nice gold color. And then there's a true golden brown, which I like to do on it as well. And this is a bronzer kind of color. So whenever you do this, you can do this 3 layers with these pencils, and this really cool copper or bronze brown gives you a great metallic gold. Just boom. And it gives a great build up to it. Now I need this super light chocolate brown. And the reason I'm going to go with this one is because I love the look of this color as a toner for skin. We talked about this before. It gives a great tan color. Give kind of that under pectoral muscle right there. Give it a little bit of that rib cage like that because it's open. Give the silhouette without messing with it too much. And definitely without going in and defining it all because it's so small. Because if I was to draw in all the pec and all the ribs and all that in that silhouette right there, it would totally wash it out. It would wipe it out completely because we've got slashes for the nose and the mouth and the eyes right there. And I did not want to go about doing that. I just did not. So I'm going to catch this chrome right here. And I'm going to catch this airbag just a little bit, just so it has a pop of color. And then I'm going to go back to this dark brown. Where are you? There we go. Again, to give that silhouette look. And hit those low shadows like that. Done deal. Just a little bit, not too much because he's not that dark. However, in the comic book, he was extremely tan. And if you don't know who Prime is, let me tell you. Prime is a character that is kind of a Captain Marvel type of character, okay? He would come in as a kid and would get this toxic ooze that would change him into a huge, muscular, rampaging monster. So he was kind of like a cross between Captain Marvel and the Hulk. and it was an ooze thing, so he kind of had a Captain America twist going on in there. And then on top of that, he had kind of this strange Jekyll and Hyde thing going on. Because what ended up happening was is every time he would turn into Prime, he would freak out. And it just wasn't hormones of a kid. He would have raging testosterone and steroids and, you know, all this stuff in his system, and it would mess with him. And it messed him up. I mean, it just wasn't rampaging. He was like loony, like crazy. What I'm doing here is I'm going over the majority of this lighter red with this solid red to darken things up a little bit. And then I'm going to go in here with this dark red and solidify that a little further, coming outward in each area from the center. So it gives it a little more vibrancy. But anyway, yeah, this character was really cool for what he was. And when they had him in Ultra Force, I loved the character. The Ultra Force cartoon and comic, when the original team was there, before Marvel changed it all up, Malibu had a great team going on in there. And I mean a great, phenomenal team going on with that. So they jacked it up, though, because they put Iron Man 2 in the Ultimate Universe. And then they made the Ultimate Universe into Marvel, you know, after they put the Black Knight and Juggernaut and a couple of other characters over there. And then you had different things going on with, you know, Prime coming over here and, you know, into this Ultimate Universe. And then we had the Ultimate Marvel Universe, which really jacked stuff up. And we got a couple of good characters out of it, you know. I like Miles Morales, but only to an extent. Let's see. Now I've got this maroon going on here. I don't want to use that. I've changed my mind because it's too purple. I'm going to go in with this brown here. So we can kind of tone that out on that leg just a little bit. Get some shadows in this cape. And go from there. But yeah, everybody wants to know where it started, you know. Peter David and so many other people were working over there at the time when Marvel bought up Malibu to try to stop Image. It was funny. You know, Marvel's like, well, I just wanted the comic books. You know, we just wanted the character properties. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You were trying to stop Image because that company published Image and helped them out. And they didn't take the boycott, so that's where it came from. They helped the Image guys out, and they got absorbed because of it. And it is what it is. I mean, it's business, but still, nonetheless, let's call it like it is and not, you know, fib about it here. So, and now I'm going to go in with these couple of deep shadows here and there, one or two places real quick, and kind of brush in a little bit of black here and there, and that is it. And I just want to hit these hard places. I don't want to hit every little detail, just the darkest of the dark spots, just to make him look a little more organic. And there we go. Cool deal. Yeah, that's going to work already. But Yeah, it was funny because, like I said, they took on so much out of that, and they were like, "Oh, well, we didn't do it because of that. We wanted to praise the guys for going out on their own." And yeah, sure you did. They spanked the industry because they were the best paid artists and they couldn't get paid or creativity, and kept getting isolated left and right. And when they called you out on it, you didn't like it. So it cracks me up, but whatever, you know. But there we go. We've got that going on. Like I said, I don't want to do too much more of this because I'm getting a little aggressive with the black there. And he's supposed to stay green, so leave that alone. And we are going to call that done, I think. I'll put on a little bit of an undershadow where that glass is broken, like that. A little highlight on top. And we're going to call that done because I don't want to mess this up. And I think we got a good base here. So anyway, I thank you guys for hanging out with me. Again, I will try to be back tomorrow earlier than this. I should be back on schedule. And I have a couple of options here that I think I'm going to surprise you guys with. But I will say this. I've been asked about it. Brainiac is in the works. I have to finish inking the background on this and obviously the face. I'll do that first thing in the morning and get that on for you guys. One of these cards is going to come up. I'm going to wait before I announce it until right before I do. As always, we only have this rock for a little bit of time to party on. Let's leave it better for the next generation and make it a cool place to hang out when we're here. Talk to you tomorrow.